I'm kind of pissed because my play got canceled. I haven't done an actual
Oh yes.
live theater in years,
What was
and
this? Because remember
so it
I
was
was
for
talking to you
Clue.
ages ago.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I did the audition in January, and then they emailed me for the second round, and it was when I was in New York. So I replied to
Yeah.
the email basically saying, "Hey, yeah, I'd love to do it, but I'm in New York this weekend,
Okay.
so probably can't." And
Mm.
they never got back to me, so I just assumed they, didn't respond to my email and cast somebody else in the
Yeah.
part. And then somebody messages me on Facebook like, "Hey, Milo, we're setting up the reading, the script
Oh my
reading, all this kind of
God.
stuff." And I'm like, "Would you cast somebody else?" And they bailed. And now they're like, "No, no, no, we just were delayed at getting it going." I'm like, "Okay,
Oh
great."
my God.
So we went in and did a reading on Sunday for the
Yeah.
first reading, and then our first proper rehearsal was supposed to be Wednesday. And then Wednesday
Oh,
morning, they're like, "Hey guys, yeah, sorry, we're having to cancel the production
oh
because this theater is
no.
closed for."
Oh God. Which theater is it? Is it like one of the pub theaters
It's not a
or?
big theater. No, it's called
Yeah.
the Brookside. Is the Brookside? I can't think of the name
Cool.
of it. So it's
Is it a new play or is it
no,
is it
it's Clue. The play Clue.
Oh yes. I think I
Yeah,
know this. Do I know
they did
this?
a
Sounds
movie of it.
familiar.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
did
movie's
they?
the movie's popular. It
Mm,
had Tim
okay.
Curry in it,
Cool.
and yeah, so it was supposed to be for that. So I was looking forward to it because I hadn't done a
Yeah,
proper
it's
like
amazing.
theatrical production in
Just
years.
when you're getting started, you know.
Yeah, totally.
The global
Damn you!
conspiracy. It's a
Hmm.
global conspiracy
It
against you,
is.
Mark.
It is against
Yeah, it
me.
is
It
totally.
Yeah.
totally is.
Jesus, we're lucky to get the. Was I lucky to get the play on? Because it was literally only two. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, you
They like
timed
the
it
storm.
perfectly.
Oh my
Hmm.
God, I would have died. It literally, if that fell true. Because
Hmm.
it was literally like well over 2 weeks ago. You know, we would have been Smock Alley's totally cancelled, like totally gone now. Jesus.
Jeez. Yeah, you got lucky there because yeah, you got done just
Yeah,
in time.
Jesus. Especially because I was the last week as well. Because imagine what happened in the middle. You know, the show was on the last week of the festival, so it was.
Welcome to the No Budget Indie Filmcast, where we dip into the independent film universe to highlight those little films that you might not have heard about elsewhere. Will you agree with our panel, or will our panel agree with each other? Tune in to find out. My name is Milo Dennison, and with me, as always, are my most excellent co hosts, Claire Milan
Hello.
and Kaho Feeney.
Hello.
That was
It's very
almost,
enthusiastic, huh?
yeah,
Isn't
it was
it?
almost
That, that's
enthusiastic.
that's that's my, that's as enthusiastic as I get.
Great. Okay, well, today we are talking about a film called My Neighbor Wants Me Dead. So, Kaho, would you like to do the honors?
Okay, so My Neighbor Wants Me Dead is a an experimental film, kind of a horror, surreal experimental film by a filmmaker called Nick Gatsby. Now, Nick actually contacted No Budget and asked us to review it. So, full disclosure here. So we all obviously we've all watched it now, and I'm looking forward to hear everybody's opinion. It's kind of, as I said, it's an experimental film, so it's sort of no kind of defined plot structure. It's a type of film that appeals more to sort of atmosphere and imagery. So there is sort of an underlying theme in that he's locked in his apartment, and he's hiding because he thinks his neighbor's trying to break in and kill him. It's like a dream. It plays out like a dream, or it's like a sort of a psychotic trip, and it's in sort of a loop where he's dying and he goes back to life, and he dies again, so it's, I must say, like, it's a type of filmmaking, and I know people who are operating in this space. I know it wouldn't necessarily appeal to everybody. I wouldn't gravitate towards it myself. I can see what he's trying to do, sort of try to appeal to your emotions, and it's sort of a dark kind of a film, but there's definitely an audience out there for it. I'm not sure if the audience is going to be my two co-hosts, so let's find out.
It's interesting because Nick Gatsby, it's the same as the Great Gatsby, isn't it? Is that his real name?
No, no, not his real name. So, his real name is Nick Hackett, from the sounds of it. So
Oh, cool.
maybe there already is a Nick Hackett, and so he took that as a stage
Oh,
name.
Nick
I'm not too
Gatsby. I
sure.
like it. I really like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, did you like the film though?
It was interesting. I don't think I'm the target audience for the film, personally. It was interesting because it filmed like a really old video camera style, like a really kind of shaky style to it. But it's called surreal horror. Now, as Milo and Carl know, I really don't like horror. So I'm a bit scared. I have a long list of fears, and horror films are one of them. It's yeah. So when I heard this is a surreal horror about someone being killed by their neighbor, I was a bit freaked out. But actually, it wasn't as scary as I thought it'd be. Yeah, it was a little bit too surreal for me, too out there a little bit. But I really liked some of the graphics were quite interesting, and the way it was filmed, I'd call it like nearly experimental. Like there's a butterfly that appears throughout it. So and some of the graphics were really, really interesting. But I don't think I'm the demographic for it. So I don't know what you think, Milo. What do you think?
Yeah. So I can respect the filmmaking aspect of it because you could tell he put spent a decent amount of time in front of his computer making this film because it is shot very artistically with a lot of graphics and a lot of discoloration and stuff. What this reminded me of, so if you've been to some modern art museums, sometimes you go to a modern art museum and they might have like a monitor on a wall and some really weird ass film just playing on a loop. That's what this reminds me of. In that aspect, it probably would do really well in that environment. For me, what it reminded me of is a film student or even maybe a high school student that's really into film and just decided to create something really fucking weird, really out there to see how out there they could get with it. And I could see myself doing that if I was in my, like 17, 18 and had access to the equipment. I'd probably would do a film like this, but I'm no longer that age. And yeah, I think kind of what we're all saying here is we're not the target audience for this film. So we're probably not going to give it, it's not going to be the kind of film that we want to watch, but I don't want to disparage on it because I wouldn't go to a theater because of a preview that I saw for this film and said, okay, I want to go see this film, or a preview that I saw online and decided to download it. So I can respect the filmmaking that went into it, but the reality is it's a lot of the same shots done over and over again. So he wakes up, neighbor's knocking on the door, bunch of weird shit happens, and then he dies. He wakes up again, knocking on the door, weird shit happens, and he dies, and it just goes over and over again. So cinematically, he's using a lot of the same shots. It's cool, but it's also something anyone could do. We were talking before we started recording here, and I think, Claire, you asked, was the actor also the director? Because you could very easily have done this whole thing by yourself,
That's what I was thinking. I thought he was the same guy, but apparently he's not, because it looks like he self-taped himself. He did the whole thing just himself in the camera with no crew, no nothing. And it's interesting because it's kind of like a silent film. I don't think there's any words in it. And there's flashcards of the writing and symbols for words. So it is a very, very experimental film. But again, I don't think we're the demographic for it. But there is a market for this kind of stuff. I definitely think there is.
Yeah, totally. Send it to your local modern art museum, Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say it's sort of an age-related appeal. I know people who would absolutely love this kind of filmmaking. So like I said, but it's not something. But I appreciated watching it. I'm glad we had to watch it, because sometimes it's like, as you say, going to an art gallery, you look at something and you'll watch it and you'll always take something from it. There's nothing that's absolutely so bad. Maybe apart from one of the films you made me watch, but you can sort of, if you kind of make yourself watch something like this, you can start to see things. You said, oh yeah, okay, I can see what he was trying to do here, and that butterfly. I mean, I think that butterfly, I was trying to figure out, what's the butterfly? What does that represent something, or is it supposed to represent something, or is it like he's in maybe it's a sort of he's in a dream, so it's not real, it's not reality, and you sort of you're walking away thinking, okay, what was that about, so it makes you think.
It was interesting because it's not quite short enough for a short film, for like a film circuit festival, but it's too short for a feature film, so it's kind of in between. So so if this was sent to film festivals, it would probably be overlooked because of the length of it, So it's another, I think it's like 50 minutes, is it? 45, 50 minutes?
Yeah, 50 minutes is kind of an odd, kind of in between length where, yeah, it's often not considered long enough for a feature, but also too long to be a short. So he would have a harder time getting this into some festivals, I think. But I mean, there's also a million festivals out there. I'm sure you could find some for it. But,
Yeah, definitely,
Mhm.
definitely. But I think I really admire the filmmaker for trying out stuff and being experimental. And there's definitely stuff in here like the butterfly. It was a really cool effect, and there was like things that melted into the ground. And so there's some stuff in this that could be, maybe he could take and use in other films, that maybe explore the things that worked and didn't work. But yeah, it was interesting. I'm glad I watched it because it wouldn't be something I would watch generally. So.
Yeah, it is true. I think it was interesting that because he did send it to us, and it was so. And there's that hit and miss of if you send your film out to somebody, like, will they like it? And then especially like knowing that they'll do a review. Well, if we potentially give it a bad review or something, like, is that going to help or hurt the film? Who knows? But so it is good that he sent it to us, because I certainly wouldn't have watched this either. Like if it weren't for him sending it to us.
Yeah, so it puts you out of your comfort zone, which is no
Yeah,
bad thing.
exactly. And that's what we have to do as filmmakers. We have to go outside our comfort zone and try things. It might work sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. From that aspect, from a filmmaking aspect, I think filmmakers should watch this type of film because it gets you thinking about, like, okay, well, maybe it's not for me, but maybe there's something I could take from this and kind of
Exactly.
incorporate that into a film that I'm working on, or that type of stuff. So that is really interesting and makes it worth watching. All right, guys. So ratings
Yeah.
out of 5.
Okay. Sorry, what call?
Well, I was going to say, I mean, it's almost unfair to rate a film,
Yes.
because if you give it too high rating, saying, okay, I really like this film, and if you give too low a rating, it's sort of it's not fair on the film, because it's as we've also said, like it's not something that we would sort of necessarily gravitate towards normally. So I think maybe we could just say what we have to say, and
no, you have to rate it.
You have to
Okay,
rate
3.
it. Yeah,
Mhm.
no, he wants to review. So
Yep, he wanted
I
the
think
review.
3
We have
now.
to rate it.
3.
3. Okay.
I give it 2 stars because I see where he's going with it. It's not for me, but I definitely think he should continue experimenting and seeing what happens. But it's definitely not for me, so 2 stars.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm going to go 2 stars just because I respect him for what he did with it, and the effort that he put into it, and the fact that he is being experimental with his filmmaking and actually thinking outside the box. And I always kind of respect filmmakers for that. So I know 2 is a low rating, but it's also not like a 1 or something. But
2 is not 1. You heard it here first.
Or is it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he gets 2 for the respect of making the film, but I mean, the reality is, on my criteria for films, for me personally, keep in mind this is just my rating. Like, do I want to watch this film again? And the answer is no. I would not want to watch this film again. And that's one of those kind of criteria. Can I respect from the filmmaking quality, the time that went into it, and do I want to watch it again? And it doesn't fully meet all of those criteria for me. So he gets the 2 stars because he did something experimental. But that's fine.
Okay. Claire just did something experimental there.
Sorry, my battery's low.
All right.
No worries. Okay. We hope you enjoyed this review. As always, feel free to let us know what you think. If you're listening to the podcast, do it via a review. If you're watching it on YouTube, give us a comment or a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. You can always contact us at No Budget Show via our social media channels. And thanks. Have a good day and goodbye.
Goodbye.